Hey guys, Damien here. All right, so in my quest to justify or at least understand foreign aid to Israel, just to catch you guys up, we started catching people up with the basics like Israeli straight interviews, showing you guys some really nasty views some of those people have. Not some of them, yeah, some of them, not all of them though. We try to emphasize how Israel started out with legal settlements, which is very underrated in my opinion. How like purchasing land for a people that's interesting. So we learned about how that was happened from Lionel Walter Rothschild in 1916 from the Balfour Declaration. We talked about the Israel being surrounded by Muslim-dominated countries all around it, how that kind of stood out. Talked about how we learned about there's 8 other countries besides the U.S. with nukes, and 4 of them don't have agreement to use them against us. When I was learning about that, we learned the first huge discovery about Mordecai Vanunu, and which my notes did not start then, but I learned about that, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. So learned about U.S. never inspected Israel after the weapons inspection. That's when my notes started. Learned about JFK was bribed by the group that starts with the Z. You know about that group? JFK was bribed by them $500,000 so they can have a say-so in Middle East policy, according to that book that I read, the Samson Option. Israel's nuclear arson and U.S. foreign policy. What a name for a book, right? Then we also learned about, and guys, I know this is boring, but hang in there because this is a story that leads up to, guys, in about 4 videos from now, I'm going to have a huge reveal, multiple reveal, 4 people I'm going to talk about in 3 groups that are going to blow your absolute mind, and how they are all connected today, then, and before then, in my quest to find out why we have foreign aid for Israel. It's all going to be connected, and it gets absolutely crazy. So if you guys are hanging in with me for the boring parts, congratulations, you will be rewarded and have a great understanding of how we got there. And if someone wants to steal my story, I prefer you contact me so I can give you all the pictures and the exact notes that I have so you can tell the story accurately. And I'm not against that, by the way. So after all that, we also learned about how AIPAC pays off our current congressmen, Democrats and Republicans, and can be inconsistent with what happened in JFK. We learned about Israel using U.S. weapons against Lebanon, and we told them not to, and then they went ahead and did it again. We also back then learned about how Iran was a distraction so that Israel could take land in Lebanon. That's back in the late 70s, and of course history is repeating itself today, so that's also relevant. And it all coincides with the same quest topic. And so we also learned that there's 32 countries that have a defense pact with the U.S. Israel is not one of them. And so at that point in time, guys, I'm like, okay, I'm convinced. America gets no benefits from our tax dollars. What is going to go to them? So that leads me to today's video topic, I should say. And by the way, I just want to let you guys know I come with facts and receipts, okay? So when I talk about the Balfour Declaration and that land being purchased by a Rothschild, I'm not lying. It's Lord Walter Rothschild. You can look it up. You can fact check me. I come with receipts, okay? All this stuff is going to come with receipts. And matter of fact, I want you guys to read this because one of these words I'm not going to say, because I don't want my video to get censored. But Rothschild was a British banker, politician, zoologist, soldier, and member of the Rothschild family. As a blank leader, he was presented with the Balfour Declaration. Okay, and also later on in his Wikipedia page as an active and close friend of Chaim Weizmann. So Chaim Weizmann is somebody who's going to be in one of my future videos. Again, to recap, Israel started out in all this area in the white, and they've been expanding ever since. Guys, look at all this area in the white. Have the green space between them. You can see they all united. All these guys, all these Jewish people united together, and look all that territory they were able to take over because of their ability to unite. Again, perspective. You can see New Jersey over here. Very small. That's about the size of Israel. A matter of fact, going back to what does Israel do for us, guys? Remember what San Francisco had resources of? Gold. That's right. And what resources are over here? Oil. That's right. What resources do we get from Israel? No idea. Nothing that we gain. So that leads me to today's subject of what if U.S. stopped foreign aid to Israel? And guys, here's something else I want you to think about. These Google searches were done months ago. So my exact phrase is, what if U.S. stopped foreign aid to Israel? If you type that in today, you're going to get something that says slightly different than this. It doesn't make this untrue, but it's going to show you how they change a bias, because obviously Google is also ran by, you know. What if U.S. stopped foreign aid to Israel? Stopping U.S. foreign aid to Israel, roughly $3.8 billion annually, would likely force Israel to overhaul its defense budget, potentially reducing military operations in Gaza and relying on alternative suppliers. Oh no. It could strain the Iron Dome and weaken diplomatic ties. What about military insecurity? Well, Israel would lose crucial funding for defense systems like the Iron Dome and Arrow. Oh no. It might have to buy weapons from other countries instead of receiving them for free, and it might be unable to continue its current level of military action in Gaza. Guys, Israel might lose their weapons for free and stop their genocide in Gaza if we quit our foreign aid. Oh no, we need to give them more money. We can't let that happen. There's still more people in Gaza that we need to kill, guys, right? That's where we want our tax dollars to go to, right? Economically, the loss of funds could force Israel to reallocate its budget, potentially cutting spending on social welfare and education. U.S. politics, the end of aid could reduce the influence of pro-Israel lobbying groups in Washington and make Israel a less central and perhaps more contentious issue in U.S. politics. Does U.S. have influence in the Middle East outside of Israel? Yes. Military presence, the U.S. operates several bases. You guys already went over that, so I'm not going to mention those bases, but you can look into that if you wish. But, in terms of militarily and geographically speaking, we do not rely on them. Again, I'm going to defer back to all these bases, dude. So Iran is over here. Look, we got surrounded by the east, north, south, and west, and Israel's way over here. So we do not need them to be close to Iran, guys, okay? And that's about it. This video is almost 8 minutes long, and I know it's been boring, but again, there's a quest for knowledge of why. Why do we give foreign aid to Israel? Should we? At this point, I think I've made an argument. We clearly should not. And I think we're figuring out, we don't really get anything from it. I think we agree on that point as well. But why? The search, the quest must continue. And I hope you enjoy it with me. Hang in there.